Hello. Sorry, I'm in your way. It's quiet, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Maybe something to get on.
What's you done to your fingers?
I cut them with a Stanley knife 2 weeks ago, and 8 o'clock on Sunday morning I was doing some carpentry, and I ended up in A&E. It wouldn't stop bleeding.
Don't you still gone good?
Yeah.
We got company?
Barry, I emailed you.
Oh, I didn't realise.
Yeah,
I didn't see that. So, yeah.
Barry's my photographer.
All right. Okay. The funny thing about it is that you own a marina.
I know.
Yeah.
One of my daughters had a boat last year.
Oh yes.
80-foot yacht.
Oh, wow.
Not a one with the sails on.
Right. Okay.
A new 80-footer. They did 300 hours.
Yeah.
They had to have a captain, a full-time
Right.
captain, and
Yes.
chef and what have you. And then after the 300 hours, they went in to do whatever you do after the first year, and it burnt out in dry dock.
The boat burnt out.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's
Because I was
destroyed it. Somebody connected the battery up, and whatever
But
happened.
you're in good company, because I was watching a video. You know the houseboat that we did in Australia?
Yeah.
Well, we docked in a dock called Woolwich Docks, which is a beautiful old, very historical dockyard there. But Robert Oatley of the boat Wild Oats and Oatley Wine and Hamilton Island and all of that, his boat burnt out in the dock overnight. So that was sort of $9-10 million.
Once they start, you've got a job to put them out.
You can't put them out. You've just got to let them go. Indeed.
Yeah. So they bought an apartment.
Yeah.
In Montenegro, where there was docking.
Yes.
And now they've got a 40-foot boat.
Right.
But not.
You don't need a skipper.
Not so cabin.
Yeah.
So
Right.
don't need a skipper.
Yeah. What do they prefer?
I don't know.
Yeah.
They was working on it.
Yeah.
Oh, right. This is a low bridge, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Would it?
So you haven't seen
Do you
any
need
of
to
this?
duck?
I will a
suppose
little
you will,
bit,
won't you?
yeah. You can see it, a lot of the swifts, you might see them just
Oh, right.
pop out.
Yeah, swifts.
Yeah.
Here, they've got the nest.
Yeah.
So why would they build a bridge so low? That is amazing because
that's
what
unfortunate.
makes anybody who's coming over a waterway do that? And that's been built years, hasn't it?
Yeah. So now, normally, we're going to share this with these people, probably, the ones behind us.
Yeah. Does somebody live in there?
No, it's owned by. It used to be a restaurant.
Yeah, I remember that. I went once.
Yeah, and then it was owned by a kitchen fitting out cupboard. But they do a lot of apartments in London.
Oh, right.
And they've got a more of an apartment fitting out business than anything else.
What, these people?
Yes. Yeah.
So what they bought it for?
Well, they had it as a showroom. So now their kitchens would start at £80,000.
Right.
It's that sort of
Yeah.
deal, really. And I'm just going to hit the sides.
Max Mason. Fitted. Bespoke. Is that bespoke?
That's yeah, bespoke kitchens.
So they don't live there?
No one lives there. They don't actually make anything there.
Is that magnetic?
Yes. Yeah, it's not particularly good.
So we're just letting the tide take us. Not tide, is it?
Well, it's no, because we're going upstream now.
Upstream.
Yeah. Morning, everybody. This is an exciting day for me because I'm on a boat again, but this time with my landlord. That's a bit strange, you might ask, but he's actually not a bad landlord. Are you, Neville?
Well, it's up to you to decide.
Yeah.
Not me.
Because he owns a marina, and I'd say you were an accidental owner of a marina.
You were right there.
Yeah?
Yeah.
See, so what happened?
In 2011, I won't bore you with the details, but I had £100 million,
Right.
and most of it was in cash. And so we needed a place to park some of the money, and so I bought things like marinas and all types of things.
Yes.
Just to park the money.
Yeah.
So it's as simple as that, really.
Yeah. So was it Euro Millions? How you won your money?
No, because if I had won the Euro Millions, that was in 2011, I probably would. I've got nothing now instead of like a couple of $100 million. So
okay.
yeah. So
Okay.
winning the lottery, I gave up on that in 1974 when I realised that the only person in the world that would take care of me is me, apart from my mum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's more chance of getting murdered in your bed at night than winning the lottery.
I would imagine so.
Yeah.
I would imagine so. It's a kind of
depends on
bit foolish.
postcode, but it's a thing. So how did it all start off for you? What age were you when you left school?
I left school at 15. In my mind, I never went to school. You know, right from 7, I knew that working and earning money was the thing for me. So I got told off once when I was 7 for eating a biscuit under my desk. It was about 9 o'clock when we just started the school day, and the teacher said, "What are you doing, Neville?" And I said, "I'm having my breakfast." And she says, "Well, didn't you have any before you came out?" And I said, "Well, I've been to work." And I thought that was normal at the age of 7 to go to work. I was helping the milkman, and I'd been helping him like for an hour or so, and everybody laughed. And I thought, what are they laughing at?
Yep.
Doesn't everybody have a job?
Yep.
And so my mind was never on school. My mind was always on what time is it? When I leave school, what jobs have I got? Errand boy, newspaper boy, whatever it may be, you know. But I did eventually leave that institution, what I was in, at 15, and went straight, well, a few weeks beforehand, because I knew they couldn't do anything about it, because I'd got a job anyway, permanent job, and that was it. But I didn't like school at all, and I've learned since leaving school every single day of my life. I'm 73 now, and I learn more now in a day than I used to learn in a year in school. Yeah. Maybe 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. What about spelling tests? How did you fare on them?
I didn't. I couldn't.
Yeah.
I couldn't spell.
Yeah.
When I left school, I couldn't even spell my own name.
Right. Yeah.
And it was because dyslexia is a wonderful thing in some ways. In a lot of ways, it's a wonderful thing. But on my website, nevillewright.com, I've got this thing about dyslexia, and there's a video from YouTube, and it plays music, and the letters kind of all fall off the page.
Right.
And it's about a 5-minute video. It's really, really good. And I couldn't explain to the teachers or my parents what I was seeing, but I didn't see what everybody else saw.
Yes.
Every time I blinked my eyes, the letters of the word changed places.
Yeah.
And that still happens. I've been married now for 53 years, and I've asked the same question to my wife every day. How do you spell this? How do you spell that? Whatever it is, every single day, 3 letters at a time.
Right.
And she does get mad with me sometimes, like saying, "I just told you.
Yeah.
I just told you 3 times in the last hour how to spell that." And of course, it never clicks.
Yeah.
So the wonderful thing is, you are not afraid to get other people to do the work that you can't do.
Yeah. I've got a spell test here for you. Yeah. So I'm just going to see how you do.
Well, I'm a lot better than I used to be, I can tell you that.
All right. Sort of unimaginative.
Oh God, I wouldn't even try.
Right.
I could
Yeah.
UN
Yeah.
IM
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
CHIT, and you put a E on the end, because I saw one of my teachers when I was 5. She's very posh, very nice, and she used to put E's on the end, and I thought posh, nice people put E's on the end. So I very often, to make it look good, I'd put 2 E's on the end. Extra special word.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you could have 2 E's on the end of Neville. Yeah.
I think very often I used to.
Right. So unfortunately, you didn't get that one. Right.
Oh dear.
There's another one. Pedant.
Peasants.
Pedant.
One I've never heard of the word.
Yeah.
P-E-D, ped, E-N-T.
Close. And I can read it here. And sanctimonious.
Sank. S-A-N-K T-E no, T-O-M-O-U-R-S.
Okay. Now, you didn't get any of them, but if you'd have sent those spellings to me, I would have been able to work it out. Now, the reason I chose those 3 words is because I too am dyslexic, as I've told you, and my whole life was spent going back checking things, and try. And what's wrong with a dictionary, Tim? You know, don't you know what a dictionary is? All
Got to find the word.
it's just murder. It would take me forever. And I think that all of those people who can spell really well and think they're very clever are unimaginative, sanctimonious pedants. So up your bum.
It's not their fault. It's not their fault.
Well, they wear it well, don't they? They wear it well. Those people.
I'm just pleased that I've employed lots and lots of people who can spell, but unfortunately don't want to use it to their advantage. Really.
Yeah. So
it's easy.
There's one word that you do know how to spell.
Right.
Yes.
Yes. Y-E-S.
Yeah.
The answer is yes. Now what is the question?
Yeah.
And that is my book, as you have read it, and you well know that came from 1974. The word, the answer is yes. Now what is the question? Because I was a window cleaner. 1974. I decided that the fish stinks from the head down, meaning I am responsible for everything in my life, because up to 1974, when I was 24, it was everybody else's fault. The world owed me a living, and it wasn't fair. And where had it got me? It got me nowhere.
Yeah.
So I'd got no money, I'd got no job. I was in a 10-foot caravan with my wife and 3-year-old child, and I thought, it wasn't fair. Why didn't I have what everybody else had? Anyway, I had a change that day. I had an altercation with a person in the Dole office because I wanted more money and they wouldn't give it to me. And I said, well, you can stick your Dole, you know, up your bum. And I thought they would say, no, never. I'll give you the extra £2. We need you because without you, we wouldn't have a job. Anyway, they didn't. They let me go. They let me go. And that was the worst and the best day of my life, because I went out the Dole office going, that showed them. And then I got on my bicycle and I cried on the way home because I thought I'd let my wife down.
How old were you?
I was 24, and then I realised, I stopped just before getting home to compose myself. Didn't know what I was going to say to Marilyn. And I thought, this is it. There's nothing else. I've got to burn my bridges now, and I've got to go for it. And that day I became a window cleaner, not because I like windows or cleaning. Is because a piece of scrim, which was a metre or a yard square, was 37 pence, and that's all I'd got.
Yeah.
So I borrowed my father's ladder, and a couple of weeks later, this lady came out of her house while I was cleaning the windows. She said, while you're here, and I said, yes, I can. And she said, I've not asked the question yet. I said, I'll do anything that you want me to do, as long as it's not illegal or immoral in my mother's eyes. And so that's where it came from.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, going back to school, there's one thing that you did get from school that you've hung on to, and that's your wife, Marilyn.
Yes.
So it wasn't such a bad place all in all.
She could read. Yes. Yeah. I mean, we gelled straight away, and she had her problems, same different problems to mine, and I was there to protect her. Because in those days, mother and father come from a Victorian background with their parents before them, and children in their eyes should be seen but not heard, and a good slapping, even when you're 15 years old, a good slapping would pay to any thought of even talking.
Yeah.
So she was very shy.
Yeah.
She was.
Yeah. Yeah.
But since then, she's employed thousands of people, looked after thousands of people. You know, so people can change.
Yes.
And this is, you know, I do talks and like interviews like this, and I want to get it over to people that just because you think you're failing in some way, it's amazing. You can change.
Yeah.
You know, if your desire is on the same level to do something or be something or have something, if your desire for that thing is the same amount of desire as you've got to breathe. So if you take a breath and you can't really hold your breath more than, I don't know, 60 seconds, and then you gasp, and then you need the air. And if you need something in your life as bad as you need that air, then you'll get there.
So what are the important things in your life then?
I think they change over the years, and never to be a mental loafer. That's important to me. Always to be learning new things, new skills, to be pushing. This is the personal things, you know, to be pushing your education and the being on the crest of the wave. Not so much now as when I was between 24 and 60. I mean, I've done a lot since I was 60 in the last 13 years that a lot of people would say that is pushing the crest of the wave, because I've built businesses and sold them since then. And I've built hundreds and hundreds of houses. So, and we've got 150 commercial tenants. So that's a kind of, that was the personal thing. So, and having a family with children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren, that's always been something that's it's been natural to us. But when you do something, it's never for money. It's always like to build warehouses, you've got to make a profit, because without making a profit you can't build the next one to the next. But it is what you're doing, you're making the economy good, you're using the labour and the materials and everything, and then you're housing somebody who wants to build a business. And then it goes, you know, and that's another thing that, I don't know what the question was, but makes me tick, I suppose. Seeing that our customers, we was getting 3,000 customers a day in the nursery shop. We built that from a second-hand nursery shop in a terrace house to the biggest in the UK, and I've been told the biggest in Europe. And that's independent, totally independent. And Marilyn started that. So for somebody that was afraid to answer the telephone when I met her, she didn't do that.
She's got the hang of it now.
She's got the hang of it now.
Indeed.
So those are the kind of things. I think that you know, I do kind of loads and loads of mentoring. I do, and then that money that I earn from the mentoring and my book and the book sales and talking, well, that all goes to charity. And I've helped 24,000 people now start businesses and grow businesses all over the world.
What's your criteria for helping people start a business? There's an angle on this, but it's not an obvious one.
Normally I don't, because I think people can do it themselves. So people generally, and I'm talking about very loosely now. The ones I help are in poverty and all over the world, and they don't need a lot to start up, and they have to pay it back. So all the loans, the thousands of loans I give, are free of charge. So actually it costs us, because if there's war, if there's famine, if there is dreadful things happen, then you don't get any of those loans back from some of the countries. But it still doesn't stop us doing it again. So we have no interest. We lose money a great deal, well, some of the time, and then we pay the people who administer it. So they're desperate.
Yes.
They want to make a business as much as they want to breathe.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a lot of people, I can say nearer to home in the UK, I've had it so good that the main thing is, what I get is, how do I become a millionaire? What's the quickest way to become a millionaire? And also, I want a business so I can retire. Everything is against being a success.
Yeah.
So my advice, if you're asking, are you asking what I do with new people who want to start up a business? Because my advice is, when they say I want to be a millionaire, I go, well, okay, so in 20 years' time you can be, if you work hard. And they, well, I was thinking about 18 months really.
Yeah.
No, 20 years, be realistic, 20 years.
Come to your mentoring session. What's the ROI on that?
A hell of a lot, because of your brain has got to change in an awful big way. It's got to change.
Yeah.
And then when you've changed and you accept these things, then it becomes easy.
Yeah.
And the other thing, because you're always fighting yourself all the time. I've worked a year and I'm not a millionaire, and it's like, so my mentoring sessions are great for people because it puts them in the right frame of mind.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, people go, what do I do? What's the easiest, quickest way to become a millionaire? Go, forget it. You never will, because you have to be doing something you like, you're passionate, you're good at. And if they say, well, I don't know, I'm not passionate about anything, I'm not good at anything, I don't like anything, go, well, find something and lie to yourself, brainwash yourself that the thing that you're doing today is the best job in the world. And if you really truly hate it, you go on to the next job. Don't procrastinate and stop in a job that you hate. And this is, I think 90% of people who are unhappy are in jobs that they hate, but they won't leave. So I say, do a job and then do another one, another one, another one, and if you're there for a day, learn something.
Yes.
Come home at night and say, what are the 5 things I've learned about that business, even if I hate it.
Yeah.
And then go on to the next one and the next. Some you might last a day, a week, a month.
Yeah.
But don't last a year in a job that you don't like, and you're not learning every single day. You can't come home and say, what have I learned new today about this business, about this industry, about life? What have I learned? What's the 5 things? And if it's like 0, you're in the wrong job. And then you eventually find something that you can do and you can make a business yourself.
Now that's all really interesting, and I'd agree with that. It's the great philosopher, British philosopher Jeremy Clarkson, in one of his writings in the Sunday Times, said, where have all of the Joe Bloggs and Son businesses gone? Where a father would start a business and then the son would do it, and they'd earn a good living. Everybody wants to be a franchise now and start a franchise and have other people doing the hard work for them whilst they live it up elsewhere. And it's, in my mind, it's why the high street is failing, because every high street looks the same.
It's the same.
It's
I've said that for years.
dull.
And years and years.
Do you know why it is?
Well, they all look the same.
Yeah.
Well, you just mentioned one franchise. And, and then big business getting bigger and bigger and cutting the small person out. But a small person can make. I mean, we proved it.
I'm going to give you a thought now. And there's a friend of mine who used to work for a large insurance company as a lawyer, and he says we like the big chains because all we've got to do is one contract and we've got 200 stores sewn up. Whereas if we go for the indie, it doesn't work out.
Well, what's their social responsibility in that company? That's not. They haven't got one. They haven't got a method statement for social responsibility then. They're greedy and they're lazy, and eventually that will catch up and bite you in the bum.
Well, it is doing these days, isn't it? So we're in the middle of some really beautiful countryside. It's absolutely astounding that we're just not far out of Oundle. There's we can see a church over there. Fairly soon we're going to be able to see an old stately home, and it's just a beautiful
Lilford
castle.
Hall.
That's it. Yes.
I went to buy that.
Did you?
I did, and there's 100 rooms.
Yeah.
And I was with Tom from King West, the agent, and we got lost in the cellars.
Rooms.
In the cellars, we got lost, and it was a maze, and it was quite. For a few minutes, it was quite frightening to think there was this old house that was derelict. It needed over £1 million spending on the roof because the roof was caving in and the water was gushing in.
Yeah.
And anyway, Marilyn said no. There used to be like a safari park at one time.
Okay.
It got the bear cages still there.
Oh, golly.
And I loved it. It was 360 acres. It got this river going alongside it, and it was wonderful. But she said, "Look, come on, how long is it going to take you to renovate it?" And I said, "About 15 years." So she said, "Yeah, so you'll be 85." When we looked at 3 years ago, you'll be 85.
Yeah.
And how many millions are you going to spend on it? And I said, probably 15 to 20 million as a,
rough
a fair estimate.
So 40 then?
It could be.
Yeah.
Well, it could well be.
Yeah.
So so we didn't have it.
Right. Okay.
Because Mary was right.
Yeah.
But with the thought and the ambition and the and if she had said yes, I love it, Neville.
Yeah.
I would have been in there.
Yeah.
I probably would have got one of these houses that you built in a factory.
Yes.
Like a double caravan, but with a flat roof. And I'd probably been happy to live there and had it as a project.
Yeah.
So that was it.
Did you have a plan when you? I mean, do you plan?
Every day is different. We've got about now well over 100 million in construction, in commercial property. So that's gone up from 85 million a couple of weeks ago. There's a big warehouse we're going to build. So yeah, things happen. Agents come to us. Could come to us at any time, any day, and say, "I've got this for sale." And off we go. In a different direction. And somebody could come and say, "I want to buy something from you." And that's it. That's the way life is.
Yes, indeed. So tell me about. Let's go right back now to early days at school.
Yeah.
So you didn't like school, did you?
School for me was an institution that I never got on with. It said it tried to make you do things you couldn't do. It punished you when you couldn't do them, and it made you do more of the same thing. And if you was good at something, you wasn't encouraged to do more of that and less of the other. And I say there's a way that you can teach kids, and the way is that do follow a curriculum that they're interested in, and everything else will fall into place. But all they do is what I thought I was gun fodder for the next war. That's what I thought I was there for. Being beaten, being humiliated, being put down, and as the school teacher said, you'll never amount to anything in life right.
There
you
go. That's encouraging, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's very encouraging.
It's very good like
you
that.
see, there's a lot of reverse psychology, whether they know it or not. It's reverse psychology, because I used to think he was right at the time, but then when I was 24, I began to change my mind and think completely different. Because they'd brainwashed me into thinking that I was useless, I was stupid, It was no good. I'd never amount to anything, and I'd spend my life on the dole or in doing meaningless tasks.
Yes.
So a lot of it is reverse psychology.
Yeah.
I think.
So what were you good at then that you didn't get the opportunity?
I was good at physical work.
Right. Okay.
Anything from like when I was 7, I helped the milkman.
Yeah.
You know, when I was 8, I probably did. I was doing people's gardens.
Yeah.
8, 9. When I was 10, I was an errand boy. I was used to post. They used to call it Normid News through the letterbox of thousands of people each month. You know, so it went on.
Yeah.
So I'd always got jobs.
Yeah.
Errand boys and whatever. I was a butcher boy. I was I've worked in so many places as well. Yeah. And since leaving school, leaving this institution that I hated was the best thing ever, because that's when I started to learn. And I've got dyslexia. I'm dyslexic and ADHD. We've got 9 companies that are currently got a lot of work on. Mm-hmm. We do a lot of building, house building, factories, warehouses. Yeah. And then there is the money side, you know, the investments on stocks and shares and and businesses, other businesses as well.
Yes.
So lots and lots going on. Mm-hmm. And people say, why are you not retired? And I go, well, what is retirement? Doing what you want to do when you want to do it. Yeah. And hopefully with the money, well, I'm doing what I want to do when I want to do it every single day. Yeah. And and I've done that since I was 24. Yeah. So I retired at 24, really. Okay. You know, it depends on what you call retirement. Yeah. And I try and work as hard as I can physically, because I want to keep my body in good condition. I'm looking forward to 2050, because we've got the Agenda 21 and the Agenda 30 in the world, and then they've got the Agenda to 2050. Well, I'll be 100 then. Right. And I'd like to see all that collapse and it never happen. You know, so...
Will you be there saying, I told you I was right, it's in my name?
Yeah, exactly. And I think World War III started in just 2020, and I said that, and I got banned from Facebook. Oh wow. And I said it's a different type of war. It's not like one country going to war with another. It's that you are at war with the powers that be, who are trying to cripple you. Yes. So I don't think we're here for that conversation.
No, it's an interesting little tangent to go up.
And I go off on tangents. Yeah. When I wrote my book, people would say, well, why didn't you narrate it, you know, because it's in book form and obviously on audio, it's on audio. Yeah. Why didn't you do the audio? And I go, I couldn't. I would be reading it and thinking, oh, it just reminds me, I didn't put this in. And I'd go off on a tangent and I'd be telling people something completely different to what's in the book, you know. And anyway, so. Yeah.
So you had a bad time at school. We've
bad.
Summed that up. And
horrendous.
But you did meet your wife.
I did. I was 16 and 7 days. She was 15. And it was, I think it was June the 25th, something like that, on a Saturday. Yeah, I met her. Anyway, so that was a long time ago. Yeah. 1966. Yeah. And as you know, she just rang me a few minutes ago. Yes. And told me that I've got a mentoring session. Yeah. Shortly. Yeah. And we've got 2 of the grandkids coming round. No, 3 of the grandkids coming round, and 2 great grandkids. Yeah. Yeah. So tonight,
the great grandkids. I don't have grandchildren yet. I've been married 36 years now, so my children need to. I was going to say pull a finger out. But it's a bit more than a finger, isn't it? Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's it's a nice thing to look for. I can't believe how beautiful it is out here.
It is beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Indeed.
And if we wasn't doing this, I'd be bored to tears because I need to be doing something, all the time.
What time do you get up in the morning? Because you said you got ADHD.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, you see, there's a lot of kids who've got ADHD, and you know that they're running around and trying to keep the red juice
And
away.
what do they do at school? They make them sit down. And the kids are looking out the classroom and they're seeing pictures in the sky, and they make them sit down and pay attention. No, let them run about and do, but in a controlled way of doing exercise. And
it is getting better. I might have told you that my wife is a head teacher in her school. They do a lot to help kids with these things. But I think they're sort of in a funny sort of way superpowers. But unfortunately, we could go cross country from A to B and get there a lot quicker.
10
but
minutes.
What happens is that this is a metaphorical thing here.
Yeah.
What happens is that the roads tell us you've got to do this, and then you've got to do that, and then you've got to do that, and that I find frustrating with a lot of things. Yeah.
I like this. You were saying, what time do I get up? Well, it depends on what time I go to bed, because I always go to bed. When I was writing my book for 3.5 years, I always made sure I went to bed before 20 to 4, something like that, because the birds. So I wrote my book between 10 at night and 3 in the morning, really. Last night I went to bed at 1 o'clock this morning, and I got up at 6.
Yeah.
So I'd obviously had enough sleep.
Yeah.
I never have an alarm clock.
Yeah.
Never. I've never had an alarm clock. Before I was 24, when I thought the world owed me a living and things wasn't fair, I had an alarm clock. Well, how alarming is that to get up to that? After that, I just naturally got up.
Yeah.
Because you want to get up, set your time.
Yeah.
I wanted to get up at 6 o'clock this morning, and I did.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's 5, sometimes it's 8. It depends on what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And but I never spend any time laying in bed. I might go to bed, sleep, wake up, get up.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. No, it's interesting.
Too valuable the time is to be wasting laying there doing nothing.
I must admit, I don't rise to straight away. What I do is get up, make a cup of tea for myself and my wife, and then we read a bit of the paper on our iPads and then get up. But when we do get up, we look at each other and say, what did you learn this morning? And we come to the conclusion all the time, absolutely nothing. It's funny. So we've got there's so much we can talk about things. One of the things I wanted to talk to you about was businesses, because you started an awful lot of businesses, and I know that you mentor people in doing that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But when you see a business idea, what's going through your mind? Or do they all come? Do you get 10 business ideas a day and you say, no. Ah, maybe. How does it work for you?
We get a lot of proposals, which I don't take anymore.
Yeah.
Mainly because people could do them themselves,
Yeah.
but they want to hedge their bets.
Yes.
And they want somebody else to be responsible.
Yeah.
And when you say you could do it, and they go, no, I can't, I haven't got the money, and you say, well, do you own your house? And they say, yes, but I'm not putting that on the line.
Yeah.
So you want me to put mine on the line, do you?
Yeah.
So they're not really in it 100%.
Yes.
And so therefore, if you've got to be in it to win it, and you've got to put everything on the line.
Yeah.
I remember 2009 in the recession, 2009, or maybe it's 8. We owed £14 million. I was doing a new build on a new store. That was going to be paid off in 3 years of profits, but instead of starting instead of making a profit like we used to, we started making a 250,000 a month loss. So therefore, it was rapidly going down, and that 3 years looked like it would be never, the way the recession was. So we sold our house that we'd been in for 26 years, 8,000 square feet, indoor swimming pool, marble. It was luxurious. We left it. We sold it in a week for 500,000 less than the people said we could put it on the market for. I needed the money. We went and lived. We took our suitcases, left everything in the house, everything in the garden, everything in the sheds, everything. And we took our suitcases and went and lived in our office for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
And that was to save 125 full-time jobs. And we could have easily run away. I'd got a £3 million cash pension pot.
Yeah.
And I was able to take all of that money out and put it into the business, as well as the money from the house.
Yeah.
Because I knew that if it went down, like it looked like it was going to go down, I knew that I could start a business the following day, like window cleaning, whatever. Yeah. I could go and live in a 10-foot caravan like I lived in there for a start. But I knew 125 people who had their families couldn't do that. Yeah. You know, that maybe one or two could, but majority can't.
Yes.
So when your back's against the wall, you do things that I would say kind of the normal run-of-the-mill person wouldn't do. You know, you've got to have that entrepreneurial get up and go, and so this is why I don't put money into most people's businesses, because they're hedging the bets too much.
Yeah. What is an entrepreneur in your eyes?
Somebody who wants to look after themselves, do things to help other people as well. Just has the excitement, has the focus, and the go do it. Do something that other people have never done before, or make something better, make something cheaper, make something that people could get. When we first went into the internet, it was so that people who used to come to our shop maybe would travelled up to 3 hours away. I wanted the whole of the country to be able to get our product. So it was not for us, it was because I had this dream that somebody in Scotland or in Wales or wherever, Cornwall, could get the same product as other people near us, the same service. So that's what drives me. That's what an entrepreneur is, that they want to make a better environment, a better place, a better product, a better service. And money is nothing to do with it. Money is a byproduct of doing something that you're passionate about. And I think I've gone on a bit.
Well, no, it's because here's another definition of an entrepreneur. So it's a bit of a fable, really. A man walks down the street, sees a business that's selling up. It's a textile business, closing down sale. Everything must go. Walks a little bit further down the street and round the corner, and there's another business there that has a sign up saying rags wanted. And he's the guy who puts it to...
Well, that is an entrepreneur. That's what we do all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. It is exactly that.
Yeah.
It may be property, land. It could be product. We do a lot of product in money products. So we buy and sell. We buy a situation that is going to come. We're either going to win or lose in 6 years' time, and or on any anniversary in that 6 years. But if the opportunity is right and we can sell at a profit, then we will sell that. On the other hand, we also buy. So if people want to sell their investments, we will buy them. So I've got somebody who does that, who's very, very good.
Okay.
We used to do that ourselves, but now we've given it to somebody else who's much better than us.
Yes. Yeah.
Because that's again, an entrepreneur is somebody who can recognise something. They can't do it themselves, but they can organise it.
Yes, yeah, indeed. And it's taking the responsibility for us, isn't it? It's actually putting your hands up and saying, let's bring these people together.
Yeah.
It's what's funny about it is that they talk about leadership quite often. You know, you might go on a course on it in the army, and there'll be a lot of shouting and a lot of, you know, all of that sort of thing. But it's not about that, is it? So how do you get the most out of people?
You find somebody that's passionate about what they do,
Yeah.
and they'll naturally they will do it,
Yeah.
because they're the same as we are.
Yeah.
Or if you're talking about somebody who just wants a job because they need to survive,
Yeah.
then you find out. Barry's a prime example, who's behind the camera here.
Hello, Barry.
About 1998, Barry, it was, when you walked into our office for a job, and to work with me to squash down cardboard boxes because I hadn't got the time, and put them into the skip. He went for the interview. He was there for about 2 minutes, and out he come. I went into the office, said, "When's he starting?" and says, "Not." Why? Well, he didn't ask any questions. And I said, "I don't want anybody to ask questions. I want them to break cardboard boxes up." So within a few weeks, maybe 2 or 3 weeks, Barry, you was in the office getting the rubbish bins at 4 o'clock, and one of the girls' computers went down, and Barry looked and said, "Oh," and fixed it.
Right.
I go, "What?" And in 1998, computers, were kind of, we didn't know what we was doing with them. And I said, "Put the bins down, Barry. You're now our computer manager." So things happen. So in Kiddicare, a lot of people would come either for the shop floor or they'd come for the warehouse job. And then within a few weeks or few months, we'd see what they're good at, see what they're interested in, what they're passionate, what their hobbies are. And then we would find a job that suited them.
This is coming back to full circle as to what you were saying about being at school and being forced.
Yeah, I suppose it is really.
And they never at school quite often. If you might be good at maths and you're not very good at English, so they send you on an extra English class.
Yeah, forget that. What about extra math class?
Now, just think of the logic. If you were good at football, they said, "No, we want you to improve your tennis."
Yeah.
It's that same thing, isn't it? So find out what people are good at and give them a whirl.
That's it.
And let them go. Yeah. Let them roll with it all, which I think is wonderful.
We're going down that way.
Yes.
Right, okay.
Yes, that's it. Yeah. The thing with this boat, it's so quiet that you hear everything that's going on.
Yeah.
The worst place to be is actually going up the Grand Union Canal when you've got the train on one side and the bloody M1 on the other side, because it's on one side and on the other side. And it's awful, it really is, but you just get, I could even hear the cows walking in the field.
Is this a for sale sign?
No, it's just a marker.
Okay, we'll carry on then.
Yeah. You got your checkbook with you?
Yeah, always.
All right, okay. Yeah, it's a pretty part of the world. This part of Northamptonshire, I think it's really sort of undiscovered, and then you've got the beautiful town of Oundle, which I love. So you're Stamford way, aren't you?
Yeah, we've got our office in Stamford.
Right, yeah. So we'll be going along now with the power that we're doing here, with what we're getting through the solar panels.
Oh, it's equal.
So, that's right. Maybe even a little bit more. Now,
That's good.
This is September, and so the sun is just about to go over the equator again.
Oh, right.
So, and it is a beautiful day.
Yeah.
But we'll be getting that power, and I haven't plugged in for a long time, because I know I'm okay. And
But every day is a beautiful day.
it's no, not at all.
Well,
Yeah. Well, in
think
some respects, yeah. I'm just.
So the parents were really keen on you eat in the little food that you got, and anything else went to the pigs and chickens. Well, they don't want people to have pigs and chickens in their back garden now.
Yes.
They don't want people to have gas boilers and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
And they're going to alter that.
Yeah.
And they're just you're being funneled into a trap.
Yes.
You are,
Yeah.
where you're going to be a slave.
Yeah.
So, and they don't plant trees.
No.
I saw the other day that Bill Gates wanted to cut down 70,000 trees and bury them because of the carbon that's trapped inside them. No, trees are a living thing. If we each planted 20 trees, they say in towns it's so hot, whereas 100 years ago it never used to be. No, because they had tree-lined streets, grass in the middle of the streets. Let's get back to having a nice environment.
Yeah. Yeah.
And stop the bloody wars.
Yes. At the moment, wars really frustrate me, because you build a village, and the amount of effort and time that goes in and money that goes into doing it, and then you blow it up.
Yeah. So why is it that 157 countries won't have a war over the Antarctica? They've never had a war there. So if they've never had a war and everybody agrees, then we're not going to fight over it.
Yeah.
Why don't they agree on everything else?
Yeah.
Or is it depopulation?
Well, we've opened up a big can, and in that can there's more.
Everybody says, oh, there's too many people. How do we know there's too many people? Yeah. Who counted 9 billion people?
Yeah.
It's.
Do you think there's too many people?
There is two. No, I don't think it's too many people, because each of us could have an acre of land each. No, there is. There's not enough innovation to make lives easier. Well, easier to make lives happier. These people, I'm sure, down here who are living on these boats are happy. They haven't got all the facilities, but they'll be happy. They will, and I would be happy on one of these. So I don't think there's too many people. I think there's a lot of people who are.
Who asked Marilyn?
I no, she won't. There's a lot of people who are, shall we say, sponges,
Right. Okay.
and want other people to be responsible, and they want everything themselves and give nothing in return.
Yeah.
You are going to get what you give.
Yes.
It's going to come back to you.
Yeah.
And but there's too many people want an easy life, and it doesn't work. So idle people as well.
Yeah.
Idle people attract problems.
Yes.
They do.
You're quite good at. Well, actually, you're very good at steering.
Am I?
Yeah. This is the first time with a tiller, is it? You're doing really well.
Well, it is going very slow. It's not a speedboat.
No. It's not. It's not a question of that. It's the fact is that it's you're doing exactly the opposite as to what everybody else would do.
Oh.
Because if you want to go to the left, you move your tiller to the right. It's a thing.
It's completely different to what I thought.
Yeah.
I quite like it.
Yeah.
And gives you a chance to.
You can travel. The beauty of it is that you can travel the whole of the country with this.